Good evening, good morning, dear Honorable Mr. Huang Xiaozhou, Vice Mayor of Xiamen City, respected Mr. Hussein Roberto, Science, Technology, and Innovation Counselor of Brazil Embassy to China, respected Mr. Newton Bogado, Secretary of Science, Technology, and Innovation of Mato Grosso State of Brazil. Dear ladies and gentlemen, nice meeting you online and welcome to this webinar training of practical tips on doing business with China. This training is sponsored by the Office of Xiamen Leading Group for BRICS Partner Innovation Center and co-organized by Mato Grosso State of Brazil and V2 of China. I'm Edward Yang, founder and CEO of V2. I'm very pleased to hold this webinar. Tonight in Xiamen of China, we are pleased to invite Mr. Ken Huo to deliver a business training entitled Practical Tips on Doing Business with China for our Brazilian friends and friends from other parts of the world. We wish this training will give some practical know-hows and facilitate your business with China. We also wish this training will open doors to some possibilities in the near future and lead to substantial business and project investment operation between our two countries in the near future. Now, before Ken delivers his training, first of all, let's welcome Mr. Huang Xiaozhou, Vice Mayor of Xiamen and the Director General of the Office of Xiamen Leading Group for BRICS Partner Innovation Center to make a speech through video.
尊敬的巴西驻华大使馆科技参赞何塞·罗伯特先生，巴西马托格罗索州科技创新厅厅长尼尔顿·博加托先生，巴西的朋友们，大家好！很高兴在人间最美的事业天召开面向金砖国家首期线上人才培训活动。在此，我谨代表厦门市人民政府，对给予此次活动大力支持的巴西驻华大使馆和马托格罗索州政府表示衷心的感谢。对参加培训活动的所有学员表示热烈的欢迎。2020年11月17日，金砖国家领导人第12次会晤中，中国国家主席习近平先生宣布，在福建省厦门市建立金砖国家新工业革命伙伴创新基地，开展政策协调、人才培养、项目开发等领域的合作。长期以来，厦门市与巴西交往密切。伊瓜苏是厦门市的友好交流城市。2019年，厦门市与马托格罗索州签订了战略合作协议，进一步推动双方在各领域的交流合作。今天，我们在这里共同举办人才培训活动，推出进入中国市场的实用策略系列课程，这将进一步帮助巴西学员获得更多的发展商机，增进对中国、对福建厦门的了解，深化中巴双方的友好交流与合作。厦门地处中国东南沿海，城在海上，海在城中，素有海上花园的美誉。 作为中国最早实行对外开放政策的4个经济特区之一，厦门已发展成为先进制造业的重要生产研发基地和境外资本投资的重要集聚地。2017年，金砖国家领导人厦门会晤时，习近平主席盛赞厦门为高素质的创新创业之城、高颜值的生态花园之城。在这里，衷心地期待更多的巴西朋友来中国、来福建、厦门走走看看，共谋发展，共叙友谊。最后，预祝本次培训取得圆满成功，衷心祝愿各位学员学有所得，身体健康，万事如意。谢谢大家。
Thanks, Mr. Huang, and thanks for the Office of Xiamen Leading Group for BRICS Partner Innovation Center for sponsoring this training. We wish, under your leadership, the Office of Xiamen Leading Group for BRICS Partner Innovation Center will greatly improve the cooperation between China and Brazil and other parts of the world in the field of new industrial revolution. Jose Roberto, Counselor of Science, Technology and Innovation section of Embassy of Brazil to China, is my good friend. It is him who kindly linked me to Ariana Gerdes, the representative of Mato Grosso State in China, and make this webinar training happen. Thank you so much, Jose. I sincerely wish Jose will continuously support us and improve our cooperation in science, technology, and innovation. Hussein is traveling in Wuhan on behalf of the ambassador and the Brazil government. Let's welcome Hussein to deliver a speech through video.
Good morning and good evening. Honorable Vice Mayor of Xiamen, Mr. Huangxi Xiaozhou, Honorable Secretary of Science, Technology and Innovation of the State of Mato Grosso, Mr. Newton Borgato, dear Ariana Geddes, dear Edward Young, who together worked tirelessly to create this initiative, dear friends in Mato Grosso and in Xiamen, welcome. It's a pleasure to join this initial section of Doing Business in China. This is an initiative created to promote exchange of information, understanding, and identification of business opportunities for our people in Mato Grosso, both in Xiamen and in China as a whole. We are glad to support this initiative. Mato Grosso is one of the powerhouses of the Brazilian economy. It has a very rich and diverse nature and a very competitive and sustainable economy, especially in agriculture. We do hope that initiatives like this will continue to promote better relations and better opportunities for our business people in Brazil and in China. Count on the support of the section of Science, Technology and Innovation of the Embassy of Brazil in Beijing. We are here to help and to support initiatives like this. I wish you all a very successful seminar and a lot of new opportunities. Thank you very much. 谢谢. Obrigado.
Thank you, Hussein. Thank you very much for your support to this webinar training. We wish we will meet you soon in Xiamen and discuss our action plan in the near future. This webinar training is organized by Mato Grosso State and V2. Now let's welcome Mr. Newton Borgato, Secretary of Science, Technology and Innovation, Mato Grosso State Government, to deliver a speech on behalf of the state.
Bom dia para nós que estamos aqui no Brasil. É uma satisfação muito grande, uma satisfação imensa de poder estar participando hoje neste evento com vocês e falar um pouco do Parque Tecnológico do Estado de Mato Grosso. Assim como assumimos essa gestão juntamente com o nosso governador, Mauro Mendes, vimos a necessidade de implementar, poder ajudar ainda mais a produção e o agronegócio no nosso estado. Com isso, convidamos para que participasse do nosso parque tecnológico todas as entidades produtoras do nosso estado, as commodities, representadas pelas suas associações, sindicatos e outros. Muito importante ressaltar o desenvolvimento do nosso estado é a base da produção. E nós, com o Parque Tecnológico, buscamos a contribuir para que a gente possa ter mais produção, mais competitividade e poder estar produzindo mais. Já somos um grande celeiro de produção de alimento do mundo, mas assim mesmo precisamos ainda de mais tecnologia, de mais investimento. Este é um papel que o Parque Tecnológico tem procurado desenvolver no nosso estado. É de suma importância estreitarmos, melhorarmos ainda mais o relacionamento de mercado estrangeiro com o mercado chinês e outros. E necessitamos também, para que todos esses países tenham a oportunidade, através do Parque Tecnológico, de abrir oportunidade de investimentos tecnológicos para ajudarmos a desenvolver ainda mais a agricultura no nosso estado. Este evento nos aproxima, mas é necessário que, se podemos dar continuidade, fazermos ainda mais. Sabemos que há uma grande distância entre o produtor mato-grossense com os grandes mercados internacionais. O estado de Mato Grosso é um grande produtor, mas tem ainda-se a necessidade de se aproximar do mercado chinês. Existem algumas barreiras que dificultam ainda as grandes negociações entre os pequenos produtores desse estado com o grande mercado chinês. Este evento, ele proporciona, ele nos coloca mais próximo de cada um. Talvez um primeiro passo. E precisamos ter outros para que a gente realmente possa estar tendo mais êxito. Dessa forma, deixamos aqui um convite para que o senhor vice-prefeito Yang Xiuzhao, a pronúncia não sai muito bem, mas é o senhor vice-prefeito, para que ele possa estar vindo a Mato Grosso para poder conhecer e aproximar ainda mais do nosso agronegócio, dos nossos produtores, para que isso possa estar criando um laço comercial mais forte, que é de interesse do estado de Mato Grosso e, com certeza, também do mercado chinês. Nós, do Parque Tecnológico, trabalhamos para que isso realmente aconteça e deixamos o nosso convite e que também o nosso embaixador, o senhor José Roberto, possa nos ajudar para que a gente possa fazer isso realmente acontecer. A Ariana, que é uma mato-grossense, que conhece a realidade desse estado, que está hoje na China, que ela também possa contribuir e ajudar para que nós podemos fazer grandes negócios para o país chinês e o estado de Mato Grosso. Obrigado.
Thank you, Mr. Newton Bogado. Thank you and your colleagues' support to this training. And we also wish we could see you and Ariana and other colleagues in Xiamen to discuss our cooperation in the near future. Now, let's welcome Mr. Ken Hoare, the speaker of this training. Before I leave the stage to Ken, I would like to take a few minutes to introduce Ken to you. Ken is from Foshan, the hometown of the world-famous Kung Fu master Bruce Lee. Ken has more than 30 years of working experience in state-owned enterprise, multinational, small, medium enterprise, and as an entrepreneur in industry service. He has provided services for many international institutions like Meta of Lithuania, ICC Ceramics, Global Box of Canada, and various local export-oriented manufacturers and traders. Now let's welcome Ken. It's your turn now. I'll leave the stage to you.
Thank you. Edward. Hola. Bom dia. Muito prazer. Mi nome é Ken. Good morning, friends in Brazil. I try to speak a few, practice a few of the Portuguese. Today, it's my honor and privilege to be here to deliver a lesson training on the topic of. We thank you again for the Office of Xiamen Leading Group of BRICS Partnership, and also Mato Grosso State of Brazil and Brazilian Embassy in China, and of course, Edward, my good friend, the founder of Victor. So let me start with this doing business with China. Yes, I will divide this into 3 parts. Part 1, to have the right partner in the right place. Part 2, make your name in the China's context. The third is localization at regional level. Of course, what we are talking about, the regional local level means in China. So let me start. First, to work with the right partner in the right place would be the key success of doing any business, especially in the overseas market. Somehow, I believe many friends in Brazil may have your own perception, your understanding of China, and vice versa. We have our own understanding on Brazil as well. So let me share with you a particular story of some years ago when I worked in a multinational company. I call it seeing is believing. So a delegation of the Brazilian and other Latin American countries who are working under the Siemens Group for lighting fitting group, they visit China. They visit China in about 2004 or 2005. And after they came, they visit a lot of factories, including the Osram factories and other vendors in China, and they see a lot of things. And in the conclusion meeting, they come to the statement that we should have come to China many, many years ago. Why? Because this would help them understand what's going on in China. Because in Osram factory, Osram is the leading lighting group in the world. Yeah, they have some factory in China, and they see the fantastic and well-organized factory in China, run by most of the engineers and technicians of Chinese, of course, with the German partners, with the German and other international colleagues. And also they see a lot of vendors, the local, really local Chinese factories run by Chinese people who produce a lot of high quality products to the global market, of course, including some lamps and lighting fittings that are badly needed and required in Brazil and other countries. And the Osram Chinese colleagues are highly professional as they regard up to the international standard. And the infrastructure all over in many cities of China are really fantastic. Yeah. And therefore, after this trip, in the conclusion meeting, their mindset or their perception or their views on China has changed, significantly changed, I would say. And now they believe what the German colleagues or the Chinese colleagues told them before was really true, was actually true. And on the other side, we, as the Chinese counterpart, as a colleague or as the supplier of these products to Brazil and other Latin American countries, we also have the chance to better understand from our Latin American colleagues what's going on in Brazil and other Latin American countries. And at the same time, we understand the culture, working habit, and this build up a really, really solid foundation for our future cooperation. And since then, everything runs much, much smoother. So the important lesson we can get from this story is both the Brazilian and Latin American people and the Chinese people alike need to have the right and updated knowledge about each other, about our counterparts. So, second part. Many people usually say China is a huge country. It's not just a big, it's a huge country, or some even call it a mega state. Yeah. And why they call this a mega state or it's too big? Because of the diversity. They are so different from the north to the south, from the coastal to the inland, and also the complexity of this country. It's true. China is big, diversified, and of course, complex. And let's make this understanding easier for you guys to understand from the angle of economic geography and also demographics. Economic geography means the place, the geography plus the economy. Demographics means the population and people. Yeah. So let's start. Let's go through a very quick lesson on the Chinese, on the Chinese geography. Okay. So on our left side, you will see this is the picture, the map of China, right? And let's start from the west. The west, we start from the we call it high plateau. Yeah, Himalayas here, Tibet, Xinjiang, all this. Very few people can live here because all these are the plateaus, even higher than the mountains. And in the middle, we call it the Middle China. Middle China, there are a lot of hills, right? And of course, this is the Yangtze River, goes through it, and this is the Yellow River, yeah? And of course, you will see the green part. The green part, the coastal part, are just plains, yeah, are just plains. Therefore, the transportation is very convenient, and of course, the agriculture are also very convenient, and of course, they are close to the sea. That's why we call it coastal areas. And then this map shows the 31 provinces, cities, directly ministered cities of mainland China. And of course, some of them are the very familiar names like Beijing, starting from here, Beijing or Shanghai, and of course, Guangzhou and Shenzhen and near Hong Kong. Okay, and there are many, many more names in the middle of China. I hope you can understand some of them. Yeah, and I would explain to you one by one, dividing into different groups, right? So you can imagine from the northeast part of China up to here where we are in Xiamen. If we take a flight, it takes you 3 to even 4 hours. 3 to 4 hours. It is something like from Finland to Italy. So you understand, yeah? From Finland or the north part of Europe down to Italy. Let's call it Rome. Yeah. So it's approximately like this. So the temperature are very different. The food very different. Even sometimes the cultural habits of the people, how they eat, how they drink, are also very different. You can imagine the people in Italy behave quite some different from those in Norway or Finland. It's normal, right? And that's called it the diversity of this place. But of course, in Europe, it's a continent. In China, we are in the same country. Okay. So, some people, I believe our friends in Brazil are interested in coming into the China market to develop, to take the best advantage of the potential, the market potential of China. And then you may come to a word or term called tier 1 city or tier 2 city or tier 3 city, or sometimes you will hear of the words like super cities. Okay, so what does that mean? Is this a strict academic terms, or is just a habit? Let's go through it. Yeah. So as I explained, there are some familiar names for you guys, like Beijing is here, the capital of China, Shanghai in the east of China, and of course this is Xiamen where we are, and Guangzhou, it is near Hong Kong. And all these cities have more than 15 million in population, 15 in each of these cities. Some of them have even more people over there. So let's go through it. We call it tier 1, 2, 3, 4, or sometimes we call them super cities. So let's start. Beijing. Okay, this is capital China. Shanghai, one of the most dynamic and economically developed cities. Guangzhou in the south, as I explained. Shenzhen, it's just across the border of Hong Kong. Yeah, also very dynamic. Yeah, maybe some of you have heard of the company called Tencent. Yeah, it is here. Or Huawei, it is also based in Shenzhen. And now we have some, and sometimes in China, we not just call it first-tier cities, but some people may call it super cities. Okay, and this is the new first-tier cities in China. For example, in Chengdu. Where is Chengdu? Chengdu is inside here. It's like a basin. Yeah, it used to be the provincial capital of the most populated province. It's called Sichuan. Easier for you to understand. it's very near the hometown of giant panda. Yeah, most of you have heard of giant panda, the icon from China, right? The lovely beast. Okay, so this is Chengdu. It's also very developed. And Hangzhou. Hangzhou is just near Shanghai. Many people may heard of Alibaba, right? So, and of course, there are many, many other great companies in Hangzhou. It's also a beautiful place. And Chongqing, the hot pot, famous for hot pot. Yeah, and it's of course the city of three gorges on the Yangtze River. And Wuhan, yeah, some people may heard of Wuhan because it's in the middle of Yangtze River. And Xi'an, yeah, you will see the terracotta. Yeah, so these are the first tier cities in China. And also you will have other cities like Suzhou, Tianjin, Nanjing, Changsha, Zhengzhou, Dongguan, Qingdao, Shenyang, Ningbo, Kunming, and of course Xiamen. Yeah, these are the major cities. Why we call it tier 1, 2, 3, 4? Why we do give this kind of ranking? First of all, because of their economic impact. This is very important. And second, the connection, the infrastructure that they have influence with the neighboring cities, because in China is such a huge country in size, and there are many, many cities. As I said, there are 31 provinces and centrally direct minister cities. Yeah, so we need to have some cities which can have the influence of 200 kilometers or 300 kilometers of a direct impact with the neighboring area. And this is how China's system works. Okay, and of course, the importance is usually measured by the GDP. So, as we say, so that's why we come to the main city clusters, the top regional economic powerhouse. For example, yeah, we have 19 here now, Beijing, yeah, and Shanghai, and Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and of course, we have Xiamen here, right? We have Xiamen here. We have altogether 19 major areas of these city clusters. And of course, China is developing very fast. And but this will show you the major roadmap. Okay, let's have a look. Suzhou, as I said, the east of China. See, these are the traditional Chinese architecture, very elegant, yeah, in the east part of China, with 1,000 years of history already, with a lot of gentle people. And of course, this is Guangzhou or Canton. Many people may come to Guangzhou for the Canton Fair. And this is how it looks like, because it is the subtropical area, a lot of sunshine, like Brazil or like Sao Paulo, very hot and humid. Yeah, so it looks very differently, very different. Demographics. Now let's talk about the people. On this picture, on our left side, the more red means more intensity or more population in these areas or in these cities. And that is the total number of 1.4 billion people in China. But of course, you will see the percentage of the youth. When we come to here, we will see, yeah, the age between 19 to 34. In this first one, the blue one, 63% is Shenzhen. In the second yellow one, Guangzhou, 56%. In Shanghai, 49%. And then in Beijing, 43%. This is the percentage of the youth in these cities. And it shows how dynamic this city could be. Because when there are business opportunities and career opportunities, of course, these people will come to the cities. And these are the super cities. So it's not just one city. We call it city clusters. So let's have a look again. So when we look for the right partner, we will have three major issues: where to find, who to work with, and how to find them. Because when we are talking about that China is too big, yes, China is big in two senses, right? One is in the size, second, in the business structure. In the business structure, that means it's big in size and also complicated in its structure. And I would like to introduce a a word, industry clusters, like the city clusters, because in these industry clusters, you will see some business will come together, especially the manufacturing industry. Like, for example, in Xiamen, you see a lot of LED lighting or IT companies in Xiamen, okay? Or in Foshan, where I came from, there are a lot of ceramic tile industry. There are a lot of furniture business, right? And also why would this come from? How could this come to? Because in the industry clusters, there are more opportunities. They first come from the manufacturing, and then the trading, and then the exhibition, and then more services. And in this kind of industry clusters, the people are flowing between factories, and you will have plenty of people, plenty of suppliers and vendors, so that you can buy the components, or even you have the right product, the finished product, just within 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers. Sometimes if you place the order of the component, they will get it in just one day, or maybe even they can be delivered in 1 hour or so. So it provides a lot of convenience, and it also improves the efficiency. Yeah. So we call it industry clusters. And the window of a given industry. Why we have so-called the window of the given industry? Because what? Sometimes they have sometimes we call it there is some strength in this area. There is some strength, and then the local people, the business people, and also the government people don't want to just stick to the manufacturing. They also want to upgrade in the value chain and also improve. So by and then, they will build up the service industry, and later on, there will be some exhibition industry. For example, like Xiamen's Stone Fair, it is similar like this. Yeah. And also for let's say for lighting fixture, including LED in Zhongshan of Guangdong, it is in a similar manner. It's in a similar manner like this. So when we talk about the young people, yeah, because the young people are becoming the backbone of the consumers in China, and they define the future of the China market. And I would like to share a little bit of you about the trends of the young people. Okay, first, we have some research report which indicate many of the young consumers are very knowledgeable. They are knowledgeable. They know about the products. They have even some in-depth expertise, and they sometimes are less price sensitive than the elder ones. Okay, and the social media is a very important part in transmitting or communicating the experience or the brand value. Yeah. So the importance of the KOL, key opinion leader, is similar to those in other countries. Yeah. And right now, health is also very important consideration, Therefore, they are ready to buy the premium, to pay a premium, or even sometimes some crazy price if they really like it. Yeah. So, what is the response from the local Chinese community? The local business firms, whether they are domestic or foreign investment, they also respond to the trend. So the image becomes younger, yeah, and they also become more trendy, and they would like to put it into the social media platforms, yeah, and also the clients will be approached by different tools of the social media by digital operation. So different from the past, more and more Chinese culture elements like the panda, like the blue and white ceramics, etc., or the 12 animal and zodiac are becoming the points. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the whom to find. When we are talking about the profiling of the top partners, how can we find the right partner? Yeah. How can we find the right partners for the for your specific segments and industries? For example, if you are going to sell some high-tech products, or if you are trying to sell some stones from Brazil, or agriculture products, meat, beef, fruit to China, what should you do? First, let's talk about the 3 characteristics of a qualified local partners in China. Yeah, we can use some keywords to describe them. What are the qualities? First, they should be what we call technical merchant or techno merchant, like technocrats. They should have both qualifications. One is both the technical and professional expertise. And of course, they must have some the proper business sense. Okay, because at the end of the day, they must be the merchant. Of course, they must be very professional. And second, you need to examine whether they really have a professional team, not just the boss or the founder, but about the team, their teammates, the people, whether they are qualified. And third, also very important, whether they are open-minded enough and are they the quick learner. If they are really open-minded, then they can accept something different, right? For example, you are from Latin America, you are from Brazil, your working habits or something are very different. So they need to be open-minded. So how can you find out this merits of these people? So I would suggest you must carefully check the backgrounds and make sure they have all these qualifications and experience in handling this, your products, your brand, or your technology. But then some friends may ask me, I have no idea who is who, because every people in China looks like the same, yeah? That's what you guys usually say. Very simple. The most convenient and powerful tool is you use the tool of so-called benchmark. You check what current product lines or brand they are handling. If these products lines or technology are in the same level of your product, then you will find they could be, not always, could be your potential partner. Yeah, potential right partner. So let's call it a very good reference is a must. And this reference not just coming from the mouth of the people. Sometimes it's useful, but to check what they are doing or what they have been doing. And of course, you need to know whether they are successful, whether they go bankrupt or not. Okay. Second, progressive. Even though we have high hopes, or people keep saying that there are a lot of potentials in the China market, but please don't be too hasty, don't push too hard, especially when you are the newcomer in the market, because too many things have to be done to go through the examination, to go through the certificate and license, etc., etc. If you are the imported products and technology, it also applies to the local products and technology. So we are the same. Yeah, that's why you need patience. And on the other side, you should build your confidence that if your products and technology are really, really good quality, then you have the power of charging premium. Yeah, because if you're going the low end, then you never have the success. You will never have the success to go very, very cheap. Okay, so you need to be high quality, yeah, special, have your own characteristic, and of course, suitable for the Chinese consumers' demand. And the second point, I would like to talk about the younger generation of business elites. Just now, we talk about the young people as consumers. Okay, of course, they are still the young people. Anyway, as the business elites, whether they are your partner or your competitor or your service provider or even the backbone of your team, you need to examine their qualifications. One, some of them could be the startup or they will have a fortune inherited from their parents. And of course, what do they need? They have already some money in their pocket, yeah, or in their bank account, but they are very eager to be independent from their partner or from their parents' influence. They want to say, hi, my parents go their own way, I go my own way. Second, most of them are very educated and well informed, some of them even with the international exposure or even the educational background and working experience overseas. Yeah, so they are quite familiar with the overseas elements, not necessarily each and every one, but it's not strange. Third, they are more exposed to the modern exotic stuff coming from Brazil, yeah, Latin America, or Europe. It's nothing strange. So the mentality is that it's not a big deal. They never worship this kind of stuff, but they will really like it if it's valuable stuff. Yeah, especially if you have something fancy and creative, that you will attract them. And of course, the younger generation, I think, also similar to the younger people in Brazil, in America, or in Europe, they are very self-centric. But at the same time, they're hungry for respect and recognition. So they would have more appreciation for those who give them more room of self-expression. You give them some room to express them, to do their own way. Yeah. And therefore, they are very outspoken and they dare to express their true thoughts and ideas. Yeah. Even related in a scenario where whether they have the national pride, yes, they have the national pride. They have confidence on the tradition or traditional elements, yeah, or acceptance of the traditional elements, but of course in a modern way, more contemporary way, and of course not as a scholar or professor, but from the consumer point of view. So keep it in mind. They are outspoken, but they are not that aggressive. Make a difference, yeah. So they would like to share something in the SNS, the social media, in the social media, yeah. And of course, they are willing to pay the premium for creativity or services. So let's find something in common. That means the definition of success for this younger generation is different from their fathers and mothers. Yeah, not purely on money, but they would also give more weight to the spiritual success, spiritual recognition, something like that. Yeah. So the next point is, well, how to find them? Can you give us some practical advice for having the right partner? Yes. As we say, if you go to the industrial clusters, then you have the good chance of the right partner candidates in this so-called center of the business. Yeah. Even if you select a very small segment, it is also possible for you. So let me give you one statement from my own. That's from my observation. 1% principle in China. You know why? We have 1.4 billion people in China. How many people in 1%? 14 million people. 14 million people. I don't know, maybe it's like the population similar to Sao Paulo. Round about that, right? So if you find the right segment in the market and find this 1% people in China as your client, as your consumer, then there will be plenty of chance, because this 1%, 14 billion people could mean half of the population of some less populated countries. Yeah, because some countries have 25 million or 30 million people in the whole country. So it's quite a big number, right? And at the same time, the supply chain is wholesome. The supply chain is complete for this segment. Service industries, people, talents, the whole system is very, very supportive. Yeah. And for example, some industry, some furniture business or LED lighting business or IT business like in Xiamen. Therefore, this accessories and components is always just around the corner. You can find them. Yeah. And of course, because they are highly competitive in China, that means it's also very cost effective if you are the buyer. Yeah. And the efficiency of the supply chain is very well recognized already. Yeah. And the information are flowing very quick, just within 2 hours, half a day, or 2 or 3 days. Everybody knows about it. Yeah. So this 1% principle is creating a very good success potentials for the new entrants. But of course, you need to find the right 1%. Okay. And second, more functions of the existing hub. What does that mean? That means the existing hub or center of the industry, they need to upgrade themselves. As I said, they start usually from manufacturing, or sometimes they just accept the OEM order from overseas markets, and then they start with the ODM, with some kind of design, original design manufacturing, and then they will upgrade to more value added, like they have their own designs, okay, own designs, and even they want to have their own brand, own channel in China, and of course in the international market. And therefore they need to have more functions. And when this have more functions, it becomes less costly, the more economic for other people to come in. So for example, more designers, even from Europe, from Japan, or from other countries, or from Latin America, they would like to come and join. Yeah, because it's more economical, more opportunity of business. Okay. And this really happened with some expatriates. I mean, the foreigners in China. When they come, they find the right partner. They find a strong player in the industry. Therefore, they have better access to the market, to the clients. Okay. And so this concludes my first part of looking for the right people in the right place. Our conclusion is, it is always challenge to fully understand correctly what the China market is about. It's even very challenging for the local people like us. But as I said, some foreigners, some foreign companies have already the success stories in China. So that means you should have the confidence you can follow the right path the right methods to better understand and make better business decisions, okay, to have the business partner. So the part 2, make your name in China context. And this one, I tell you one true story of a successful company, which is a North American brand. Yeah, the key success and challenges of a foreign brand. First, let's talk about the relation between the headquarters and the Chinese joint venture. In this case, the headquarters sitting in North America have their Chinese partner, the local Chinese partner, and they all together build up this joint venture. And after China's entry into WTO in 2001, many multinational companies came to China, but most of them use China as the manufacturing base, just produce and export. And then some people decide we use the China plant. They build up the China plant and also sell part of the products in the China market. But most of the time, they make these strategic decisions, the important decisions for China market by their headquarters in Europe, in USA, or in other part of the world. And sometimes they meet some real difficulties because sitting in Europe or USA or Japan, you will find it more difficult to really understand what is happening in China. So this joint venture, the headquarters gave some room of decision to the local team and let them decide. And of course, the local team is led by the most experienced manager coming from the headquarters from the North America. So both the joint venture's domestic operation and the local sourcing of the product can be decided by this general manager. As I mentioned, the domestic operation have two parts. Most of the function is to serve the China market, and at the same time, they buy some of the products and sell it back, then export them back to their own country, for example, in North America, and also they export some of the products to the neighboring countries in Asia. Yeah. So let's have a look at the match of the partners. Why? Because let's first talk about the strengths. They are from different companies. One is the company from North America. The other one is the local famous brand in China. And the North American investor, they are strong in their views of international market, their creativity, their understanding on designs. And the Chinese partner are very strong at the management of the plant, the factory. And of course, they have very good understanding about what the Chinese consumers and clients like and don't like because they are in China. Okay? So we talk about the so-called complement. It's a complementary. Your weakness is my strength. And the same vice versa. My weakness is your strength. So we can help each other. Right? So the Chinese partner, why the Chinese partner would like to join venture with this foreign partner? Because they want to catch up with the international level. Yeah, they are already very good in China, but they want to be even more successful, and they want to learn about how the system is working in creativity, in designs, and how to understand what the international China is all about. That is what our Chinese companies are usually weak. Yeah, of course, they are progressing, they are catching up a lot. And of course, the foreign partner, why they came to China? They have two reasons. They want to tap the potential. They want to cash in, take advantage of the huge potential of the China market. And of course, at the same time, they purchase the high quality products at very reasonable price and ship it back to their market in North America. Okay, so it's really a win-win solution. Okay, both sides are happy. Both sides are happy. So that means the new entrant has less cost in understanding and entering the market of China, and have the better access to the production capacities, because the foreign brand, they are strong in brand building, marketing, design, but they are very weak at production. So they purchase the capacity. They purchase this product from the factories of these Chinese partners. Okay, so productivity. The productivity or the production capacity or the management expertise of the factory of the Chinese partner are very, very much utilized by this kind of joint venture. And the third one, the successful public relation, including the government relationship. Why was that? Some foreign entrants, some foreign companies are skeptical or sometimes a little bit uncomfortable with managing the government relationship in China. I think it can be a misunderstanding, because managing the government public relations, including the government relationship, must be managed in a professional way. And at the end of the day, you will get a lot of benefits. Very simple. You just follow the Chinese rules and regulations and laws, and sometimes, of course, you need to pay a little bit more money. For example, buying the insurance for your staff, right? Going through all the procedures and obtaining all the certificates in a decent way. Therefore, they have very constructive relationship with the Chinese partner. They are welcome everywhere by Chinese government, the local government, by the officials, by the media, the local media, by the local people. So whenever there is an event, all these people came to support them. Yeah, and even sometimes not just the Chinese government, but the government, or let's say the embassy or the consulate general of their own country, and even other governments. That means the officials or representatives from other embassies or the general consulate would come to join to the event. For example, just some weeks ago, this company launched the international event, the award for the designers, and all these people, the local officials, the local partners, designers, dealers, industry medias, and even the government representative from other countries, all came and joined and celebrate. So they make a big name. Everybody knows about this, and their brand name is improved, is promoted in a very good way. Okay, so let's call it a successful public relationship. Yeah, and if you have a very active CEO, and this key CEO can utilize his own expertise, the professional understanding of the industry, and his eager or keen to share his experience with the industry, then he's making a really good contribution to the industry, because knowledge can be shared. Of course, other people may listen and even copy or catch up. This is one side of the coin. Well, if you look at the other side of the coin, that means you have better influence on the industry, and more people in the industry or even the consumers know about this brand name through the communication by this CEO. So this CEO has become a so-called KOL, key opinion leader in the China's social media. And think about it. Think about it. You get a lot of promotion or similar to advertisement at a very low cost. And every people like you. When every people like this CEO, he became the icon or the representative of this company, of this brand. So everybody knows about him and everybody like this company. Yeah. So when we say China is big, or sometimes say China is too big, we should understand in this way. Yes, big in size, big in its complexity of the structure. And it also means big business opportunities. Therefore, people have too many opportunities in China, the business people like us, and they look around. They never have the patience. So if you make yourself known by the local clients, partners, or even media, then you are in a very good beginning. You start to be successful. Yep. So let's go to the part 3, the localization at the local level. Sometimes people may be a little bit scared. I'm a people from Brazil. I'm a people from Latin America or Europe. How can I be localized like the Chinese people? No, you don't need to be a Chinese people, but you better understand how this business is worked, how this business or the system is working in the China system. Okay. So let's talk about the role of technocrats and public information. Okay. And the role of technocrats, what we call technocrats, it's a word similar to the bureaucrats, right? What we call technocrats means those professional officials in the government. So let's call it. You need to understand what these technocrats in the local government is all about. Both at city level or even in a town or district level or county level, their role is to support the local business, to develop the business. Usually, they starting by covering or serving the local companies, factories, especially the big one, the major one, yeah, and trying to make it the hub of the industry. As we say, that if you become the hub of the industry, everything comes through you and you get a lot of benefit as a whole. Okay. And of course, you have the chance to become international. So the local government officials are really keen to support the business under their jurisdiction, their territory to grow. Very simple. And remember, these government officials are also keen to be promoted, go up, yeah, from in their career. And it's very depending on the achievement, successful fulfillment of the key performance indicator, so-called KPI, such as, not only that, but such as the local economic achievements, sometimes measured by GDP, yeah, or the employment rate, or the success of the projects and other parameters. And of course, for some departments like Commerce Bureau, yeah, or the similar function, bring in the investment is very important. How to bring in the investment? You make your local business successful, then more investment will come in, right? And this investment means two things. One is the local business, yeah, from the local Chinese people, from other parts of the city. From other parts of the country, from other cities, from other provinces. The other part is international. They would like to bring in the international investors to come in, to settle down, to become the local firm, to build up the service center, R&D center, factory or trading center, whatever. Yeah. So we should keep in mind as I said in the very beginning, the perception of the China, the qualification of the government officials in China have improved a lot, significantly in the last 15 or 20 years. Let me call, usually the technocrats, with the leading position, the technocrats in the government would be like this. First, they have a degree of a decent university. Decent, that means somehow very good university, yeah, in China or overseas. And they are professional in some areas, yeah, either lighting, electronic, mechanic, law, finance, etc. They receive a lot of trainings in various forms, times, and in different places. They have been working in different departments of the government. They move from one position to another, yeah, and otherwise they cannot advance themselves. They cannot be promoted. And of course, they have some experience of the business trips or training backgrounds in all over China, or sometimes in Western countries. And they're very familiar with the local business. Their local business. They know in the fingertips, right? And some may be transformed between the managerial position of a state-owned company. For example, in the petroleum company of China, in the electricity company of China, blah, blah, blah. It's a key managerial position. And then the next day he became the, for example, the governor of the district, or the governor of the county, or the head or the director of a certain department, yeah, or they're coming from some universities. Therefore, it's easy for you to understand, yeah. This is called meritocracy. Meritocracy means if you do something good, you perform excellently, yeah, and then you get promoted. And then that's why we have a very strong team to govern, to manage the whole business, the whole society. It's something like your Brazil team, yeah. When you have in your soccer team, you have good striker, you have good midfielder and defender and goalkeeper, then it's very easy for you to win the World Cup champion. Easy to understand, yeah. So, in short, they're really keen to promote the business, and they're really trying hard to make the information public according to the government regulations, because they want you to understand what the business is all about, so that it's more even convenient for the business community. So, of course, relatively, the coastal areas have some advantages, yeah, over other areas. Like Xiamen, we have a so-called South Fujian. We are in the southern part of Fujian, and we have a city clusters led by Xiamen. Yeah, Xiamen, Quanzhou, Zhangzhou. But of course, Xiamen is the most reputable, most well-known in China, and of course, internationally. We have some strong business like LED light fitting, OLED, also the so-called optical display screen, yeah. And of course, Xiamen is also a very good place for amusement, for outdoor entertaining, with some very beautiful seashores, maybe as good as Sao Paulo. I don't know, because I have never been to Sao Paulo. Okay, anyway, it's a beautiful place, yeah. It's a beautiful place to stay, to travel as a tourist, and of course as a businessman. And let's also have a look at the so-called industry policies, the evolution of the industry policies. The 5-year plan in China, some people don't like this word, because they say this 5-year plan is coming from Soviet Union. But you know, in China, this 5-year plan has done a good job in the big planning for the whole city, for the province, or even sometimes, in many times for the country, or sometimes for some specific tasks, yeah. And it's like a company. In company, we should have the vision, and then mission, strategies, and then we have the targets. And this 5-year plan, especially if you go down to the provincial level or the city level, they break down into different targets. And then to achieve different targets, specific targets, you need to have some concrete plans. And this is what we call the industry policies. Okay? And how is the formation of these industry policies? Usually they are consulting. I mean, the government, the department like the commerce, the Bureau of Commerce, or the government as a whole, they consult with the local business leaders. They consult with the internal officials of the government. Or of course, they consult with the local think tank, like the professors or researchers in the universities, not only in their city, but also in the whole country, other provinces, so they can learn from each other. Yeah. So this kind of industry policies are very similar to our SWOT analysis in the company. Yeah, we are familiar with the SWOT: strength, S; W, weakness; O, opportunity; T, threat. It's similar. Yeah, you have to develop your own strength of Xiamen and avoid the weakness of Xiamen, so that you can catch the opportunity this market can provide to Xiamen. I just give you one example as Xiamen. All right. So the local business leader can have a channel of dialogue with the government. And also, if you are the main foreign invested companies, you may even have the chance to be consulted with in this process. Yeah. So I would say the decisions are made of rationality, made of business sense, right? For example, when we are talking about the intelligent manufacturing, AI, robotics, etc., we will have this kind of process, right? But then many people may heard of the novel A Tale of Two Cities, yeah, by Charles Dickens. Okay, and of course, when we talk about this, we call it the dual centers, because China have 9.6 million square meters. It's so big, as you usually say, and it's sometimes necessary, or it's very normal, or let's call it, it makes business sense to have more than just one center. We call it dual center, or even multiple centers of a certain business. For example, if I'm not too wrong, in China, we have a lot of LED light fitting industry clusters, like in the eastern part of China, that's near Shanghai, and also in the southern part of China, in Guangdong province, that's in Shenzhen, Guangzhou, or Foshan. And of course, in between, we have Xiamen. Yeah. So Xiamen is also one of the major LED light fitting center for this business. Yeah. So the market and the country as a whole is so big, so huge, that we can have 2 or even 3 business centers or the industrial clusters that can make them even very comfortable, right? So, and let me give you one more example, taking this time, yeah? Perhaps I have to hurry a little bit. The equilibrium, the balance between Chinese and Western culture in practice. This is a real example. This picture is taken on site, presented by a foreign GM. How he start? He start with a very Western style. Everything is done by Western style. But then they have a lot of problems. And then they say, oh, maybe we are wrong. Then since we are Chinese company, we are the corporate Chinese citizen, yeah. So we go to the Chinese way. So they swing from the very Western to the very Chinese side. But they also have big problems. They don't know where to go because they are somehow international companies. The GM and the core team are also the foreigners. They don't know where to go. And then they say, how about we take it middle, 50-50, and then manageable, yeah. And then they finally decide in the market segment in stars, they make it, let's call it 80%, not really accurate, yeah. It's not a chemistry formula, but they make it 80% or plus minus 80% for Western, 20% the local ingredients. And now they find it very comfortable and they find good success in the market. Yeah. Of course, this is not a must. Yeah. I'm just giving you a reference, a true story, how a foreign brand is probing, yeah, finding their own way to be the more successful in China market. So last but not least, members of the core team. Who are the members of the core team? If you want to be successful in China, of course, you are a foreign company. You need to have some key people, key positions run by the foreigners, by your own country or by other Western people. This is normal and understandable, right? Yet, let's first answer some questions. Can Made in China be a world-class player? The answer is yes, definitely. Let me give you one more example. I have a good friend, my ex-colleague in Osram or in Siemens. We usually call him Mr. Hao. Hao is his surname. But you know, our technical VP, who is a German, how he introduced to other international colleagues, he say he's Dr. Hao. Doctor. He does not have the doctor's or PhD degree, but we say he's Dr. Hao because he run this factory in China perfectly. And every people is amazed. Every people from Germany, from other parts of Europe, from Japan, from USA, they are surprised. How can they have such a good company, a good factory run by a Chinese team called Mr. Hao? So we give him a nickname, Dr. Hao. This is a good example. Made in China is not mystical. It's not mysterious. It's done by a lot of professional people, by their hardworking. Of course, these people include both parts, international people and the Chinese people. And another story, is this done by some famous Italian design? When a bunch of the Western designers came to the showroom of the joint venture, they are surprised. Oh, it's really good design. Excellent. Is this designed by some Mr. Roboto or Bravado or blah, 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 by Italian designer? And the GM of this North American brand say, no, it's designed by the local Chinese team. Of course, with the help and assistance and guidance from the boss or leaders from the local team and other international colleagues. Yeah. So this can be done by the Chinese people, but not alone. So what are the lessons of this story? Chinese people are qualified, are professional enough, but it does not mean Chinese people do it alone. We need the international cooperation. Yeah. So that means the globalization is still, the trend is still on. So we also know the phrase, yeah, father knows the best. So I change it a little bit. Local people knows the best. If you really want to be successful in the local, the regional level, you want to be successful in Fujian, in Xiamen, you want to be successful in Shanghai or Guangdong or Beijing, what can you do? Ask the local people. Ask the local, qualified, reliable, professional people. The decent, reliable people, trustworthy people. So the good consultant can come also from the local. That means Chinese, if you want to be successful in China, I give you the formula already. In manufacturing, in service, in design, in consultants, you can work with the Chinese people. The Chinese people, as I said just now, whether they are government officials, whether they are the young entrepreneurs or can be your partners. They are well informed, well trained, international exposure, very good minds. Yeah, they can be your good partner if you decide to work with them. Okay, so let me come to the summary. First, work with the right partner in the right place. So China is too big as two meanings, right? First, the size. Second, is a little bit complex. And of course, we must follow some methods, the right method to looking for the right people. Where, how, where, whom, and how. Yeah, so we have some keywords. Tiers of cities, city circles or city clusters, industry clusters, a window or the hub of the industry, the profiles of the younger generation as the consumer or maybe as your partner, and also the trends of the trends, yeah, and the consumption. The summary of part 2 is beneficiary, it's good. Maybe it's not easy, but it's important to make your names known, make you reputable in China context. And of course, we also go through the benefits and necessity of building up a good name of your own. Yeah, I mean, your name, your brand name or your company name. So these are well supported by the experience of already successful persons and companies, I mean, the foreign companies in China. And this should be done, and of course, can be done in many layers and many areas. So we have some keywords such as the local partners, industry, key opinion leaders, public relations in both business circles and also the government levels. Okay. The third part, localization at regional level. Yeah. And if you really want to be really successful and make your success sustainable, you need to be localized at the local level. Yeah. But of course, localized at local level does not mean that China will close our door and Chinese people will do it alone. No, no, no. On the contrary, globalization is still the key success factors for you and also for China. So, and for Chinese people. So we have these keywords such as technocrats, yeah, the people, the professional people in the government, the role of the local government and their officials, and also how they support the business, localization in many areas like marketing, team, and consultant. So I'm afraid I used up a little bit of my time, yeah, and as to Felice, I'm very happy. I'm very happy, and I thank you for your time and patience so that we go through this the practical tips on doing business with China. And of course, I do wish you great success and of course good luck in China market. And of course, this seminar is not yet finished, and we should have the Q&A session, question and answer. So I would like to have my good friend Edward, Mr. Edward Yang, the founder of Victor.
Okay, thank you, Ken, for your excellent presentation and training. I know you have prepared for this presentation for several weeks with many updated cases,
Yes,
studies.
thank you.
So thank you very much. But before you finish your presentation, we have some questions for you. So the first one is regional policies of China government to establish international partnership is working.
The regional policies China government to establish international partnership is, yes. As I explained just now, we mentioned some coastal areas, especially some coastal areas. Not only that, because for example, eastern part of China, the city clusters near Shanghai, the city clusters of Xiamen, that's where we are, and also the city clusters of Guangzhou and Shenzhen in the Pearl River Delta. Easy for you to understand is Hong Kong, and also some inland areas such as Chengdu. All these city governments at city level or at the provincial level, they are really keen to build up the international collaboration and cooperation with the foreign counterparts. Brazil, Latin America, Japan, Europe, or even USA. They are keen to do so because we know it's good for the business of China. We have benefit a lot from this globalization. So we should keep going that way.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Here comes the second question. Which is the most prosperous region in China to invest according to the new policies implemented during the pandemic?
Even with the academic or during the pandemic,
Maybe I think it's after the pandemic.
let's say after pandemic. Yeah, unfortunately, first of all, I wish each and everyone in China, in Brazil, in each corner of the world, even in Brazil or in everywhere, every people stay safe and healthy, so that next time, very soon, we our life and business can be back to normal. And in China, so far, we recover a lot from the impacts of the pandemic last year. But of course, this pandemic is not over, and it's hard to predict. Yet, let's say, after since the second part of last year, that's 2020, the Chinese governments in the city levels, in different cities, in different provinces, or even, of course, the central government, introduced a lot of policies of opening up to the foreign investors to do business, buy and sell. You can either buy from China or you can sell something to China, buy and sell. Yeah, import or export. Second part, invest. Either Chinese people invest in your country or you can invest in China. And if you're talking about which area, as I mentioned, we have 19 city clusters in China, 19. Each city clusters cover 3, 4, 5 different cities around them. And I would say the most successful city clusters that they have proved they are success in the past, they will continue to be successful in the future. Okay, so let's say who have been the most successful economically? Beijing, the capital of China, Shanghai, you know that eastern part, and Shanghai, Hangzhou area, and then down the coastal line, Xiamen. Yeah, Xiamen is one of the most prosperous areas in the coastal line. It has a lot of first, the weather is perfect, amiable, yeah, comfortable. Second, they have a lot of purchasing power. Put it in a simple way, the people around us are really rich.
Yes.
And of course, they have very good cultural centers and very good universities in Xiamen, and that makes the whole city very sustainable. I mean, the success are very sustainable. And then you go down to the coastal line. That is my hometown, Foshan. Foshan is just 30 kilometers from Guangzhou. Guangzhou clusters or Shenzhen clusters. Shenzhen is very near Hong Kong. So all these areas are already, you could have a better chance of success, especially for the foreigners. And of course, the inland China are also very important, like Chengdu, Wuhan, or Xi'an. Of course, sometimes you, my friends in Brazil, may be less familiar with these cities. But if we have the chance of to have these training sessions even longer, yeah, and we will go into more details. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The third question is, what's your impression on the future of making business with China after the pandemic and the restrictions imposed that make the close contact so complicated? This one.
What is impression on
Your
future?
impression.
My impression of making business China, restrictions imposed make the close contact. So, yeah, I must say this is just for the sake of health of the people. Yeah, and of course, the people from Brazil, from Latin America, Europe, or any other country, when you need to fly to China, it's very complicated. I must say, but it's all for the sake of protecting the people in China, and of course for protecting the people, even the foreign friends in China. We do hope the pandemic can be over, because if you look at another country as our neighbor, I don't mention the name, you know that if we look at another country, that if they have very loose control of the people, then the pandemic will be disastrous, could be crisis. And 1.4 billion people, if we have this kind of disastrous, that's more, I would say it's more like 10 atomic bombs in the globe. So it's
Okay.
not good.
Okay. The first question.
Yep.
Do you think it's important to try to explore the provinces that are not that famous and international as Beijing and Shanghai? I think you mentioned before, like Chengdu, Wuhan, Xi'an,
Yes.
and even the city of Xiamen.
Yes. I must say many people, especially our friends in Latin America or Brazil, due to the distance, yeah, or the linguistic differences, you only know about Beijing and Shanghai. Yes, Beijing and Shanghai are very, very developed. But do you remember my story at the very beginning, the tour of perception? That's 10 years ago, or even 15 years ago, when the Austrian CEO, the CEO of the affiliates in Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, these 10 people, they came to China. They visit not just Shanghai and Beijing. They came to Guangzhou, Xiamen, Foshan, the less reputable, the less well-known cities in China. What do they find? They say, wow, how come that they have never heard of the city names like Xiamen or Foshan, but they say, this is world-class infrastructure, the world-class airport, hotel, roads. And when they went into the factories, they say, wow, professionals a lot. So I would say we can recommend not 100. I would say we can recommend 10 or 12 very robust, very developed cities in China, even though they are less internationally known as Beijing or Shanghai.
Okay. The fifth question is, what are the basic requirements of marketing for technology companies to have notoriety in the Chinese market?
Okay.
New media, I think.
Yes, of course, new media is one of them. If you are the technology company from Brazil, right? So first, you must understand, China have its own rule, which is somehow different from Brazil. It's something like Germany has its own rule different from Britain. Yeah, Great Britain. Or Japan has different rules, technical rules with USA, similar to that. So you have to really, really understand what the Chinese rules is about on your field. Second, what are the customer needs? Whether they are the consumers, or they are the business or the factories or your industrial partners. You have to go through all this. China does not have any discrimination against the foreign vendors or the foreign technology companies, as you know, yeah, but you need to follow, because each country has its own laws and regulations on technologies. And the best way to promote it, I can give you two words. One is social media, very cost effective. The other one is you need to talk with the right people in the right sense, like professional seminars, discussion with the local technical people or your users.
Okay, thank you. The last question.
Yep.
How to reduce cultural differences and use them to improve negotiations, and how do these differences affect possible partnerships?
How to reduce cultural difference? Okay. It's all about perception. As I said again, you are Brazilian people with the influence of Latin American culture. We are Chinese, but if you say who is better, who is less better, no, we need to respect each other. We need to respect each other, and you. Second, what you have to do is to be professional, because you want to explore the China market potential. You need to really understand what the Chinese consumers or the business or the clients like or don't like. Don't hit the rocks with your head. In Chinese saying, yeah? If you use your head to hit the rock, then what will happen? It's not because we discriminate. As I said, the Chinese people, especially the Chinese well-informed and well-educated consumers and younger people, they like the fancy things, creative things, good things. No matter they are made in China or made in Brazil or made in Europe, does not matter. But you need to prove it provides value for the customer. I hope I answered the questions from our Brazilian friends.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all for you tonight. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for all your answers to the questions.
And
thank you very much.
Thank you. And to the friends in Brazil, obrigado. Thank you.
Okay, this is the end of Ken's presentation and his answers to all the questions, but it is not the end of our webinar, because before we finish today's event, now we are going to invite you to stay together with us to enjoy a short video of the beautiful Xiamen.
今天的厦门已经发展成为一座高素质的创新创业之城，也是一座高颜值的生态花园之城。
夏碧五洲客，门纳万顷涛。这里是中国厦门。
这里人呢，常爱讲一句话：爱拼才会赢。
山、海、城，相融相拥。清新的蓝，宜人的绿，娇艳的红，辉映如画。 人与自然和谐共生，完备的公共配套，便捷的衣食住行，许你一个温馨的家园。礼让斑马线。 全程志愿红，爱文明，爱自然，爱生活，这是一座爱意弥漫的城市。这里是改革开放的最前沿，这里有多重国家政策的叠加效应，这里有完善的投资环境， 打造国际一流的营商环境，营造高效透明的政府服务。厦门自贸片区多项改革成为全国样本，审批服务基本实现一趟不用跑和最多跑一趟。围绕高质量发展，推进供给侧结构性改革，落实创新驱动发展战略，加快产业转型升级。厦门将成为海峡西岸强大的先进制造业基地和最具竞争力的现代服务业集聚区。拼改革、拼服务、拼创新，这是一座拼搏奋进的城市。实施人才强势战略，双百计划、海纳百川人才计划、人才新政45条，从引才聚才到育才留才，5洲4海为梦而来。投资环境，让大量海内外资本在这里汇聚，生生不息。这是一座聚财聚财的城市。强大的产业聚集效应，完善的上下游产业配套，让投资企业无后顾之忧。先天的开放禀赋和政府的开放实践，让厦门的大门越开越大。通商育国，融入世界。开放包容的城市特质，最终形成文化上的多元交汇。传统文化、海洋文化、西方文化交融碰撞，有缘千里来相会。这是一座海纳百川的城市。爱拼才会赢，拼是奋斗的过程，赢是梦想的实现。
我们都在努力奔跑，我们都是追梦人。
这是一座奔跑不息的城市，追逐着梦想，永不止步。这是一方投资创业的梦田。如果你有梦想，请来这里耕植。
Okay, this is the end of this webinar. Thank you very much for staying with us, and thanks, Ken. And I also wish to thank Rihanna the great coordinator of this event, coordinate all the things between China and Brazil. And I also wish to thank Elisa, an excellent translator, a hero behind the scene. And thanks Madame Liu and the beautiful ladies here and gentlemen here, and for their effort to make this webinar successful. I think this is the first training and a webinar between Xiamen and Brazil. We wish we could organize more trainings for you if you wish. And let's keep in touch. And goodbye. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.